Alright lads, welcome to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Rooikat 105. This is the current top tier rank 6 premium for the British tech tree. However, in the next update, Danger Zone, which may or may not come out when this video goes live, there is a new top tier tank coming to the British tech tree, the Challenger 1 Mark II. This tank, the Rooikat 105, sits at battle rating 8.7, which is a little bit of a dodgy place in the battle rating system at the minute. Pretty much all 8.7 vehicles get up tiered to 9.7 pretty much every game, which as you can imagine, does limit how effective they are as a grinder. But thankfully, in the latest minor update to War Thunder, the Rooikat 105 received a new shell, the DM33 round. Gaijin buffing the British vehicles? Is this a dream? Anyway, this is a premium vehicle and it will set you back $60. It has to be bought on the Gaijin store in a pack. It comes with 2,000 Golden Eagles and 15 days of premium time. To put the vehicle in your lineup, it's going to set you back 10,000 Silver Lions. And for the Expert and Ace qualification, which I would recommend getting, is 1,210,000 Silver Lions for the Expert and 2,100 Golden Eagles for the Ace. So lads, is this vehicle worth buying when there's looking to be a new top tier British premium coming in the next update? Well, stick around to find out. So, the mobility and the survivability. Well, this tank is powered by an engine-producing 567 horsepower. Combined with the vehicle's weight of 28.5 tons, it gives the tank a power-to-weight ratio of 19.9 horsepower per ton. It is worth pointing out, however, as you can clearly see, this is a wheeled vehicle. This means it gives the tank a pretty high top speed of 121 km per hour. Granted, you'll never really achieve that top speed in battle, but the downside of wheeled vehicles is a pretty low amount of torque. This means they accelerate fairly well, but their ground pressure tends to be much worse compared to their tracked cousins. Basically, wheeled vehicles are very fast, especially in a straight line, but when it comes to traversing or moving over soft terrain or going up steep hills, they tend to be very sluggish, and it's no different for the Rooikat 105. Pretty much all wheeled vehicles, with the exception of the Radkampfwagen 90 for some reason, German bias, seem to struggle with this sort of stuff. So while the Rooikat 105 certainly is mobile, it cannot be said that it is manoeuvrable. Anyway, the survivability, and the tank has a crew of 4 men, with a driver in the front, and a gunner, loader and commander located in the turret. While the tank is quite big, which could allow it to soak up some incoming rounds, you certainly aren't going to be bouncing any incoming shots with this thing. The majority of the tank's armour is around 30mm thick, which is better than a lot of other lightly armoured vehicles in the game, but it's still not enough to really block anything bigger than a 50 cal. The thickest part of the armour on this tank is actually the main gun barrel, which is quite funny, but needless to say, getting shot in the gun barrel isn't going to be a fun experience. So while this tank certainly is fairly mobile, it isn't survivable at all really. The majority of the times I died were from one-shot kills, and because you have pretty terrible armour, to be honest, pretty much all the way around your vehicle, you're incredibly vulnerable to both close air support as well as incoming artillery. Especially with the overpressure being so effective currently in War Thunder, even a near miss from artillery or a high explosive projectile is likely to kill the vehicle. So we've covered the survivability and the manoeuvrability. Let's get on to the meat and potatoes, the firepower. So while not strictly British, it is South African, but it does use a variant of the Royal Ordnance L7 gun, the South African made GT7 105mm cannon. Like all of the other L7 derived guns, it has a base reload rate of 8.7 seconds, which drops down to 6.7 seconds with an ace crew. The gun has pretty good vertical guidance characteristics, with 20 degrees of gun elevation and 10 degrees of gun depression. This is very effective on the battlefield, as in combination with that great speed, you can rapidly go over a short hill, fire down with your gun depression, and then retreat back into cover. This sort of shoot and scoot tactic will probably be your go-to sort of tactic in game. We've already covered the armour, you can't exactly trade with the Rooikat, so play it sneakily and play it stealthy. The gun is obviously stabilised in both the horizontal and vertical axes as you'd expect, but once you get over a certain speed, the stabiliser becomes pretty much useless. So if you are going to fire on the move, at least come down in speed a little bit. don't try to fire going over stupid amount of speed. In combination with your gun, you also have thermal imaging. This is only generation 1 thermal imaging, but it does the job at battle rating 8.7. We then come on to the ammunition, and being a premium vehicle, all of these ammunition will come unlocked, so you don't have to grind for them. Your stock shell is the DM12 round. This is a high explosive anti-tank thin stabilised. Not really at any point using it. Pretty good for killing light vehicles, but I don't tend to personally carry in it. You then also have the DM502. This is a high explosive squash head round of German origin, I believe. Again, like the DM12 Heater Fest, not much point carrying it in my opinion. Being only a 105mm gun, it doesn't really have the diameter to cause massive high explosive damage, so I'd leave this in the hangar. We then have the DM23 round. This is the top round fired by the Leopard A1A1, and pretty much the standard round fired by 105mm NATO guns. Travels pretty fast at 1,455 meters per second, and can penetrate 330mm of armour at a range of 500 meters. This used to be the top round of this tank, but as I said, it recently got DM33. DM33 increases that penetration up to 398mm of armour at a range of 500 meters. The DM33 also does a lot more post-penetration damage, giving you significantly more one-shot kills compared to DM23. In my opinion, this has been a big buff for this gun. I remember when the tank was first introduced, and DM23 was a little bit lackluster even back then. Considering this tank now sees a lot of up tiers, the DM33 has done a lot to actually negate the rather weak gun of this tank. Even against sort of top tier opponents of this thing, the battle rating 9.7 spam, so the T72AV terms, the Leopard 2Ks, even against those sorts of tanks, this gun is now pretty capable of one-shotting them. The increased penetration over angled armour is also very good, which really does allow you to just piss off the T72AV terms drivers. There is something to be said, however, because we know that Britain is getting a new top-tier premium. If you're thinking about buying the Rooikat 105, I would consider waiting until the next update drops, and then test driving both vehicles and seeing what you like better really. The current lineup of tanks at battle rating 8.7 for the British is rather lackluster. You will mainly be using battle rating 8.3 vehicles in your lineup, so compared to some of the other premiums in the game at the minute, you don't really have a strong backup as well to actually back up your lineup, if you know what I'm saying. Compared to like the Soviets at 9.7 with the T72AV terms, where they've got an absolute shit ton of top tier, well, not top tier, but incredibly powerful vehicles around a similar battle rate. Britain just doesn't have that at 8.7. Now the new British tank is going to be battle rating 10.0, where Britain has the two other Challenger 1s, the Vickers main battle tank, the other 10.0 main battle tank in the British tech tree, and then the TTD and the other sorts of South African vehicles. So I think Britain at 10.0 performs a lot better than Britain at 8.7. So I would consider getting the premium Challenger 1. It's not as fast, but it has a better gun, it'll be more survivable for newer players. Plus it's an actual main battle tank, so it might be a little bit more hands-on if you're a newer player to the game. But anyway lads, that's all I've got to say. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. And if you really like the video, please consider becoming a channel member. Like T, Biff Webster, Tomato Salad, Doboa LX, Just Someone, Destroyer 1805, Dr. Bob, Tans, William Tessier, and Lola Alfonso. Thank you very much for becoming members lads, and I'll see you in the next review.